while we're waiting for people to join, especially our guest speaker, I'm so excited when I'm not the one that the Holy Spirit actually warned me against saying this, so I'm not going to say it. But yeah, I'm excited for our guest speaker. She'll be great. I was reading this book earlier, and this book, so imagine I was having a conversation in fellowship yesterday, and I started reading this book today, and literally, I know it's okay, God is our comfort. Literally, this book is confirming everything that I was saying about believing with everything in you that God is good. Please, you need to read this book. Bill Johnson, God is good. Like, I wish I could share chapter 1 with the whole world, like the whole Christendom, just chapter 1 alone. You need to read the book. It's too good. It's called God is Good by Bill Johnson. Please read it. Hi. Where's our guest speaker? I've already called her. Said she's ready. She's ready. How are we all doing? Well, I'm sorry, I shouldn't ask that question because whether you watched the match or you watched it on Instagram or WhatsApp, you are still in an interesting headspace. So God will comfort us. God will comfort. Is there anything that can happen that will make them keep us in the World Cup? Can they disqualify Argentina? Is there anything they can do? Let's pray. If not, they're coming home tomorrow. Alrighty. Before we get started, since we have some time, please save the date. 7th of July, we're having a worship gathering. It is going to be so good. It's going to be so good. It's at the Worship Cafe, Otres Restaurant, in Lekki Phase 1. It's going to be amazing. Like, you know, I kind of know when there's so much opposition against something and God says, I want you to do it, then I know that God has a wonderful plan for it. Do you understand? And it's happening. And so I will look forward to seeing you there. It's going to be good. Oh, our guest is here. Hi, Iphie. Please just send me the request. Let's get this party started. And then, broken sessions start immediately after on the 12th of July, Thursday. And it will run for 7 weeks. And for those that were in the last session, they can testify. It was an amazing time. Even I got healing in the process. It's so good. God is so amazing. Alrighty, so I got my request now. 1 second. Hey, hi, Iphie. Excellent. Okay, so let me give you some gist about Iphie. Iphie reached out to me. When was it? It must have been. When was it?
I think it was 2016.
Okay, yes. So she reached out to me right.
It was before. It was like October. It was before October, November of 2016.
Yeah, but you couldn't come for the conference because you're not around, Abby.
Yes,
you were in Dubai or something like that. Okay, there we go. Okay, so back to my story. So if you reached out to me in I'm going to say November 2016, and she was like, in fact, she's the one that actually gave me the concept of Elizabeth, because she was like, wow, that God had given her this huge assignment, and she was wondering how she was going to go about it. And then she found my page through, I think, Omi's page or something, and God was like, Jigga, this is your Elizabeth. And I never really heard that concept before. And literally, God had asked her to do this amazing conference, and I was there. So as in, I was there every step of the way, even to May 1st, right? And there's so many amazing testimonies every step of the way. And so as soon as, in fact, I'm getting ahead of myself. So many amazing testimonies. She will just call me, and in fact, she won't know, she'll just be gingering me with her testimonies, because then I think we were even planning towards last year's conference. So her testimonies to give me ginger. Then this year, she invited me to come and speak on hearing from God. Meanwhile, she did not know that God had already asked me to write the book on hearing from God, and I was doing my little Jonah, episode. But exactly, but for some reason, God was using her event to keep pushing me to say, look, get this thing ready by her event, which was, I think, 29th of May. Now, so God used that ginger. Now, I didn't get it ready for the 29th of May, but I got it ready for the 1st of June. And so once again, so I was her Elizabeth for her conference, but she ended up being my Elizabeth for the book. So you see how God uses, he puts people in families, he gives people their tribe, do you understand? So we're all encouraging each other on this journey of water walking. So today she's going to share with us her experiences. As in, you guys, there's some mind-blowing testimonies, and I just want you to see her. Like, she's a normal person like you and I. Do you understand? Just a person that has said yes to God. So she hears from God and she obeys. She's not a pastor yet. You know, she doesn't have church yet. Do you understand? But she works a 9 to 5, you know. But God used her, you know, to do such a mighty work. So I'm going to hand over to her, and I'm going to lean back and enjoy this session. Over to you, please.
Okay. Thank you, Esther, for having me. Thank you very much. I'm really excited. Let's just pray. Father, I thank you for today. I thank you, Lord, for the great things that you have done, that gives us the opportunity to share about you, share about your power, share about your majesty, share about just the awesomeness of knowing you. Father, I ask, oh Lord, that the words that I speak will edify you today, that it will go into the heart of everyone that is listening here, and it will be as water upon a parched soil in the mighty name of Jesus. Anything that is dead, because your word says that there is hope for a tree, even if it's cut down. At the scent of water, it shall bud again. Father, I speak today and I decree that by the words that I speak, that they are water indeed, and that any dead situation in anybody's life, Lord, as I share the testimonies of your great acts, oh Lord, that it shall cause their lives to bud again in the mighty name of Jesus. Amen. Lord, come and take preeminence, speak your word through me, that everything I say is not about me, but it's about you, that all glory will be returned to your name. In Jesus' mighty name I pray.
Amen. Amen. Can you do something about your volumes a little bit? No, we need to hear you, please. And if you have questions, you guys, you know what we do. Huh?
What did you say? I should do what?
That's the volume we're looking for. Yes, please. We need to hear you loud and clear. Thank you.
Okay. Don't worry. By the time I enter the passionate part, my voice will come out.
Excellent. All right.
Okay. So let me. So like Esther said, I reached out to her in November. So let me just go back a bit so that we kind of get the full grasp of the testimony. So I always knew that I had a calling for women, which I was fighting, truthfully, because I'm the only girl. I grew up with boys. So for me, when the call to minister to women came, it was really difficult for me. So I kept running away. In 2012, I kind of became serious, and God used to share things with me that when I share with people, it's always so profound. Like, Mama, how do you know this? And I'm like, that's what he said. So I started sharing it in a blog. But in 2015, I took a year off work because my son wasn't working. My son wasn't talking, I'm sorry. So I took a year off work, to attend to him and all that. But in that time, we were supposed to travel, we ended up not traveling. And I was really excited for some weird reason, like, this is the 1 year I really need to, face this work that God has given me. Like, I was brimming with things to do for God with regards to the women that he had sent me to. And so I started. And then somewhere, it was the recession period, and then Esther talks about this a lot in the alternative business school. Sometimes God gives you an idea, but then you kind of try to tailor it to the way the world does things, and then you lose where he's leading you to. So I started trying to tailor what he had told me to do, but through the eyes of the world, and he literally just walked away from me. So I would do things, people would be happy, people would be blessed, but I'll be unfulfilled. So I was asking him what to do, and then he told me he didn't ask me to do all that. So I'm like, okay, so what do you want me to do? And then he goes, I want you to organize an event for 1,000 women on the island. And I'm like, seriously? Number one, I'm serious. Anyone that knows me, I don't go for events. I am terrible. I don't even go for weddings. Like, I can make a lot of noise before the wedding. On that Saturday, you will not see me. Like, I like my bed. I like my space. So when he said an event on the island for women, I don't even know about women events. I don't know how to start. I don't know how to do anything. And then you didn't even say like 50 people, 20. He said 1,000 people. And so I was so worried, really. But then I asked him, okay, so what am I going to do? So he gave me the names of the speakers. He gave me 5 speakers. And he told me these are going to be the speakers the theme of the event is going to be the uncommon woman. He told me everything. It was one day, it was July 16th, 2016.
Almost a
So I
year
wrote
now.
down everything.
Mm.
Yes, I wrote down almost 2 years now. I
2
wrote
years,
down
sorry.
everything. And then, since he said it was 1,000 people, I said, okay, the way I would demonstrate my faith. So I'm like, okay, if you really say this, fine, I believe you, I will do it. So when I asked him, the event is from, this was July 2016. I asked him when will be the event. Oh my God, this God is amazing. And he told me, you are carrying a baby and you need to birth the baby. I work with pregnant women. So he told me, you're carrying a baby, you need to birth the baby. Assuming today was your last menstrual period, when will you have this baby? I said 40 weeks. He said, go and calculate 40 weeks from today. And I calculated 40 weeks from July 16th. It was the weekend of April 28th. And my son's birthday is April 22nd. So it was April 29th. So I said, God, April 29th is going to be a sanitation because it's the last Saturday of the month. And so I moved forward and it was April 22nd. I'm like, oh no, God, no, I can't do this kind of big event on my son's birthday night. It would be so unfair. And he goes, keep looking down. So I was looking at a calendar. Jesus. I was looking at a calendar that was wide. And he said, keep looking down. And I'm like, down to where? It's 40 weeks. The Saturday before is April 22nd is my son's birthday. The main Saturday is April 29th. It's environmental. The next Saturday is May. And he just said, look down. And so I looked and I just saw it was circled there. May 1st. It was a public holiday. It was a Monday. And I'm like, oh, okay. Sorry, I didn't think about that. So date of the event gave me May 1st. So that means at this point in time, in July, I had the date of the event, I had the names of the 5 speakers, and I had the location, island, and I knew it was 1,000 women. Now, it's important to note that at this point in time, remember, I had taken a year off work, so I did not have any money. I had spent my money. We were supposed to travel for my son, so there was a lot of expenses. Anyway, so I asked him, so this event is between now and May 1st. That's almost 9 months. What am I supposed to be doing in between? Since you said all the other things I've been doing, you didn't send me. He said, you're going to write a book. Actually, the truth is that the book had been on my mind. I'd started writing it in 2012 somehow, and then he stopped me. So he said, you're going to write a book. The book on the things that he had taught me about the virtuous woman. The name of the book will also be The Uncommon Woman. So I said, okay, no problem. And me, I once I hear, truthfully, as long as I heard, I just immediately jump into action. So I jumped into action. I wrote the introduction. I wrote the chapter 1, and then I stopped because I really didn't know how to take it further. But in the meantime, remember, I'm also planning the events, which is really much, I'm just dreaming about it. So this is, remember he told me this in July. In August, I got called back at work. So I took a year off, but it was 10 months and they asked me to resume. So I resumed in August. And then when I resumed, the first week, so there's this thing that happens in my office. You pretty much have like a savings plan, kind of, that the company does for you. I know that when I was leaving, I had pretty much cleared everything, like I had cleared everything. So in my mind, I did not have money anywhere. So I think I had resumed for about a week. Normally, when I come back from work, I usually take some time to stay in my kids' room. I start praying with them. When they are sleeping, I'm just there, the lights are off. And sometimes I use that time to just talk with God. So I was having a conversation with God, and it was going something like, God, man, it's not you that say I'm going to do events. This is already August, though. How far? I've not seen money. But I had taken an act of faith, and I had already gone to look for the halls that were 1,000, that would take 1,000 people on the island. It was Muson Center, and Muson Center was, I think it was 1 million, one something. All of them, Muson Center was the cheapest. So me, I didn't even bother going higher. There was 5 million, 3 million. I just couldn't deal. The 1 million was really plenty. So I had done that. So I was like, God, how far? This whole event thing, the hall is there. They say 1 million something. I don't have money. And then he goes, you have the money. And I start laughing. Now, I think it's good to give some perspective into my relationship with God. I see God as my father. And with my biological father, like we literally crack jokes. I tease him, he teases me. So I do the same with God. And I think that's my own relationship. So I started laughing. I said, God, it's like you have forgotten that your daughter was not working. Don't you see my bank account? I don't have any money. And he said, Foma, you have the money. So immediately I remember that day at work, I had gotten back to the office and I was asking them that I wanted them to make sure they restarted the savings for me. And the lady was like, oh, just go online and then click a few things and it will restart. So I actually did go online, and when I opened the portal, the Muson Center Hall was 1,180,000 naira. When I opened the portal, I saw 1,180,000 naira. Remember, I said I did not have any money. I don't know where this money came from. But at the point where I saw the money, I didn't even remember the event. I just saw the money and I was like, man, I have hit jackpots. I am going to invest this. I'm going to do this. I'm going to do that. So this is same day in that night. So that's when I was having a conversation with God. And I was like, God, how far with the money for this thing? And he goes, you have the money. And I was still arguing with him when he now flashed the picture of my laptop that showed me that's like my statement. And immediately I had goosebumps. I was like, oh my God. So literally how you provided this, until tomorrow, I cannot explain how that money, from what I went to meet HR, they were like, oh, maybe I had some small change there. And recession, Naira doubled from 100 and something to 400 Naira. So the thing ballooned up. Long story, I had 1,180,000 Naira. So this was a Monday. By Wednesday, I went to Muson to go and pay. So I got to Muson, and poverty is wicked though. So I got to Muson, and I entered the hall, and it felt like tight, like as if I was in a hole or something. And I was like, oh, I would really love, an airy, bigger hall. And I went to one of my friends, Tilonis. And Tilonis goes, let's go and check the remaining. I'm like, I beg. The next one after this is 1.7. God has provided 1.180. Let's work within our means. And she was like, it won't kill us. Let's go there. So we went to Harbour Point. We got to Harbour Point. The hall was about 1.7. We started a long discussion with the manager. And then at the end, he stops at 1.4. 1.390 actually. He asked me how much do I have. I didn't even have mouth to say how much I had because this long drama to get to 1.390. Then he says he's going to talk to his madam, so who is Yewande Zacchaeus. So I said, okay, no problem. And I got back home and I said, God, I would really love a bigger hall. It would be nicer, it would look more beautiful. But this money will not be able to cover it. Yewande Zacchaeus is your daughter. Please go and talk to her. I don't know how you are going to do it. The same way you spoke to me, please go and talk to her. So I stayed waiting for the hall to get back to me. Month one, nothing. After a while, I reached out to them. I actually found her number and sent her a note. And she said she hadn't gotten that instruction, but that she would get back to me. Long story short, the manager reached out to me one day. That, what is it? Did I go and report him to his madam? That she has approved a discount for me. So I said, how much is the discount? He goes on, and guess what? The final amount was 1,180,000 naira. Like, I literally broke down. Like, it was amazing. So obviously we sorted the hall. So this was the first one with the hall. Then the next thing because remember I told you I hadn't done an event before, truthfully. I didn't know people. So one day I was doing my devotional, he was teaching me about Elizabeth and Mary and how Mary, heard the angel and Mary went to see Elizabeth. And he was telling me that, for every crazy instruction he gives it to you because he knows that you can do it. You can look at it. So Mary was like, when the angel was greeting her, blessed are you amongst women, favored. And she was shocked, not at the angel, but at the greeting. And he was like, Ifeoma, you need to get over the fact that I've sent you on this errand. I've sent you on this errand because you can do it. And then, so you're pregnant with this child. There's Elizabeth, who is also pregnant. But now the angel did not tell Mary to go and meet Elizabeth. Common sense told Mary to go and look for Elizabeth. So when I finished reading that, I was like, God, please, who is my Elizabeth? Because at this point, I really need an Elizabeth. And then, so this happened. And then 2 days later, on the last page, I just saw where, they posted out the Esther's event. And she was just going on and on about this lady who is crazy, and God told her to do an event in a cool hotel, and God is hosting an event. Who does that? And as I was reading it, what I just heard was, that's your Elizabeth. I'm like, okay. So I reached out to Esther, I think on DM or something. And then, she exchanged numbers, and then I called her. We spent like almost an hour, almost 2 hours on the phone. And she was just, encouraging me and telling me that, all the different stories. And I was really, really encouraged. And she was also telling me about, the people that God had told her to go and meet. Because my next challenge was the fact that he had given me speakers that, to me, seemed very, very unreachable. So he had asked me so the speakers were, one, Reverend Lori Dahosa. So Lori Dahosa. Omilola Oshikoya, Mildred, Pastor Mildred Okonkwo, myself, and then at that time he had given me Jumoke Adenowo. So there was five of them. These 5 people, I don't know. Okay, forget the 5, forget myself. These 4 people, I didn't even know how to reach them. But at that point, I knew I had to get in touch with them. So I knew Bishop Feb, so I had reached out to him, and he had spoken to Reverend Lori. That one was even the easiest. She was so excited. Oh, blah, blah, blah. Anything God wants, so she signed up. So I told her that, oh, by the way, let me even tell you how he even gave, because he gave me a few speakers. He was dropping it like a piecemeal. So I remember when he had given me Pastor Mildred. I know Pastor Mildred. I know her name. My husband's best friend goes to DCC, but I didn't know anything about her. And when God gave me her name, I'm like, okay, so what's she supposed to, speak about? He told me. So I reached out to her, sent her, I think, a Facebook message. Anyway, by the time she read it, she asked me to come over. We had an amazing discussion. She was also very, very excited. At the end of the day, all the speakers were now so excited. And I'm like, these people have not met me before, these people don't know me. And the part that was now very interesting was where, so I was telling my husband that, I told my husband about the instruction, told him about the speakers. And that day he just looked at me and he said, there's going to be a speaker from the US. And I started laughing. And I'm very, very naughty. So I did something like, yeah. Holy Spirit just said that there is no speaker from the US. So he was like, stop kidding about this kind of things. Really, really go and talk to God. I'm telling you, there's going to be a speaker from the US. So I said, okay. And the more I prayed about it, it's not like as if I got any speakers, but I just felt peace. So in December 2016, remember this journey started in August, before the speakers. In December 2016, my initial plan was to have been done with all the speakers, speakers confirmed by December 15th. So by December 15th, all the speakers were not confirmed. There was one speaker, so out of the 5, there was still one speaker missing. The speaker for the Uncommon Woman and Her Works, which was supposed to be Jumoke Adenowo. Then she said she was going to Gambia. And as usual, I went and reported that to God. So God, you sent me to tell this woman that she's going to be a speaker. I don't know what was my business with Gambia. But somehow it just did not, she didn't get back to me. I reached out, so I left it. So that December 15th, I'm like, God, I really wanted to have closed out this thing by December 15th, so I can use January, February, so the new year to start promoting the event. And so I said, okay, who is this US speaker? And I wrote it down. He told me, he said, Ifeoma, don't bother about the US speaker. I have it covered. The way she's going to come here, you have no idea. Just make sure that in your agenda, you leave the opening charge for her. And I'm like, okay, how does somebody come from the US for a program by Ifeoma who nobody knows? But I shall left it. So I created the agenda, I put opening charge, speaker unknown, and then I created the rest of the agenda. Then when we entered the new year, I was still trying to close out Jumoke Adenowo, it didn't work. So sometime the event was May 1st, so I think it was in either end March or early April. It was very funny because we had started promoting the event, with the speakers that were available. And then that morning I woke up and I felt this heavy burden to pray. And remember, I was going to work, but I just felt I should pray. So I immediately had my bath, went back on my bed, covered myself with my bed sheet, and I started praying in the spirit. I was just praying. And the next thing he said, Yemi Alade. My God, which kind of message is this one now? Interestingly, he had told me about this Yemi Alade before. I argued that, God, I don't know if she's born again, blah, blah, blah. I actually went online and I didn't find anything about whether she was born again. So I'm like, you see, I told you, she's not born again. I don't want to cause any problem. Meanwhile, Yemi Alade, interestingly, is one person I admire. Like the fact that she sang a song in English, French, Swahili, something that challenged me personally in my business. And I actually started doing things in my business in other languages that was helping me get clients. So it's not like as if I did not like her, no. I actually even follow her separately. So that morning, as I went under my duvet, I started praying, and then her name dropped. I'm like, God, are we still on this? And then he reminded me of this song, You Covered Me. What's the guy that sang it? Anyway, I put on the song. I use songs to pray. So I felt he was dropping the song for it to help me to pray better. As I put the song in my ear, the first line, part of my argument to God was, God, I don't know if she's born again. I don't know if I put her name there, she's going to bring a whole different kind of crowd. I want a crowd of serious women. We're talking uncommon women. I need people that are ready and serious. Oh my God, I can laugh at my foolishness now. So this was my argument, and he just told me I should put the song I should put on the song. So I put on the song. The first line of the song goes, I don't want to peculate the crowd. I just want to please you, Lord. And so I went and I Googled the meaning of peculate. So peculate means to separate the crowd. And it just kept going. I just want to please you, Lord. You covered me. You brought me out of sin, and he just started hitting me. Like, Ifeoma, I chose you not because of anything you have done. I know where I picked you up from. I know how I cleaned you up spiritually, and I'm giving you this task. You have no right to say whether somebody is going to bring a crowd or not. It's not about you, it's about me. You shouldn't be the one saying you want to decide the crowd that will hear my message. I wept. I was just crying. I was so sorry. I said, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. I just kept saying, so this was in April, yes. I just kept saying, I'm so sorry, I'm so sorry. And he said, I should reach out to her. Now, I have a friend whose husband is like among her managers, her manager. Well, the group that manages her, they own it. So I reached out to my friend and I said, babe, Yemi Alade needs to come for this event. Now, knowing my friend on a good day would have asked me, are you sure? I usually don't like to get involved in these things, blah, blah, blah. She just told me, okay, no problem, I'll talk to my husband. And she spoke to her husband, and the husband had a couple of questions. They called me, I answered the questions. He said, okay, no problem. Oh, I remember I told you that I actually personally follow Yemi Alade. So I knew that she was on her France tour. You know that there's a tour she went in France that she literally filled up one concert hall and all that. So I knew she was on tour. So when God said I should reach out to her, I'm like, God, she's on tour. Like, you're still talking. My friend, will you reach out to this young lady? So I told my friend, and then they reached out to her while she was on tour. And Yemi said she was going to go. She was going to come. Now, Yemi doesn't go for events. She doesn't speak. She doesn't go for events. So when she said she was going to come, they told me that news on my birthday. I was just so excited. Then the next thing, the manager, somebody from her team, sends me a message and says, so what exactly do I want her to do? And I said, she's supposed to come and speak about the uncommon woman and her works. And he goes, how long is it? I told him the time. And after a while, they just said, you know what, she can't come. If you should have read the mail I sent to them. They have this hashtag, something team all for God or something. So the Iphie team, something for God, Iphie team for God or something. That mail, I told them, God said he wants Yemi Alade at that event. Like, you know, for me, I've been beaten, so I've taken my own action. So don't come and post aside my Gary. God said Yemi Alade should come to that event. If you go and if you keep talking about this hashtag Iphie team for God, then this is the time to show that the Iphie team is really for God. This is instruction. This is not my instruction. When I finished that, I just wrote, the date of the event is so. The time is this, blah, blah, blah. Looking forward to hearing from you. And the next thing, I got a mail that says, okay, Yemi will be there. I'm like, man, God, you're really gangster, shao. So that's how Yemi got sorted. Now, the interesting thing where God was trying to show me that really, sometimes we just concoct things in our head and think that's it. Remember, one of my fears was if I put Yemi's picture, the crowd she was going to bring was going to be crazy. At the end of the day, we had over 3,000 registrations. But guess what? The actual image that had Yemi's picture did not bring up to 100 registrations. So he was just trying to show me that, see, I've got this covered. Now, is it even about the registrations? When it was time to start promoting the event, I asked God, so how am I supposed to promote this event? In one of my roles, I was a digital manager. So I do have an idea of how the thing works. I do digital marketing for my business, for everything. So he said, I had tried something once before. It's called, it's a lead generation ad. So the way it works on Facebook is that once you put the ad, somebody clicks on it. And once the person clicks on it, it opens a page still on Facebook where the person's name and email address should be put in. But if the person is on Facebook, Facebook automatically fills it in for the person. So literally what happens is the person just thinks, oh, I clicked on this, but meanwhile, I have gotten the person's name and email address. When I had used it earlier, what I realized with that type of ad is that I will get quite a number of people, so I'll get a number of leads. But in terms of communicating with them, so when I send them a mail, the open rate is usually very, very low as 10%. Because for most of them that I got the leads, they're not even conscious of the fact that they fill the form. So when they see a mail from me, they just think it's spam, and so they delete it. So when I was praying and I was asking God, so God, how do I promote this event? He said I should use a lead generation ad, the lead gen ad I'd used before. I'm like, God, but last time I used it, the open rate was really low. And he said, you asked for name and email address. So this time you ask for name, email address, and phone number. You will get their details, then you will call them and you will follow up. I remember when I got this one, that day I started dancing. Like, I was dancing. I danced around. And guess what? I started it. In the first day, I think it was the first 7 days or something, 7 or 10 days, we had over 1,000 leads. We had 1,000 people that registered for the event. I was so blown away because that same period, Steph Obi was doing a free webinar, so how to get 1,000 leads in 31 days. And me, I'm like, man, God just did it for me, and I just got it in 10 days.
Yay.
So on that front, we had like over 3,000 registrations, even before the whole Yemi came into the mix. So so that was on that one. In terms of funding, it was just amazing. When we did the bill for the event, it was like over, I think it was like 5 or 6 million, which, remember, I had no clue where to get from. The whole he had sorted, and then he just started, leading people to sow into it. People were giving money. Wow. The part that there was one day, that day I called Esther, I was crying. Like, I was weeping. I can cry, I cry for Africa. I can tell stories and I can cry. I should act in Nollywood. Like, but anyway, so what happened was, this was same April, like I think it was a week or two to the event. And towards April, he now told me that he needed me to also launch the book on that day. So remember, I told you I had written 2 chapters and just stopped. This was sometime in November of 2016. December 28th, he told me to start writing and gave me a deadline of February 28th to finish writing the book. So with my full-time job, I was writing. In short, some days, there was a day that I was tired. That's why sometimes, even me, sometimes I go back to the book and I have to read it. I was writing. I was writing, that a woman is not excellent all around. That's the aspiration. That's the uncommon woman. But in your work today, there are places where you're stronger and there are places where you need to improve. So the places where I was strong on, which was basically where I had learned a lot of lessons and I was really, improving on those, on my relationship, my marriage, starting a business with a job, those parts of the book, I was just writing it like wildfire. So when we got to, like, I think week 6, it was about your home, parenting. Yeah, I'm a good mom. I think there's a lot more for me to learn. So I was like, God, I really don't want to write this part. I don't think I'm the expert to write this part. And he said, just give me your fingers. I wrote that day and I finished writing. I was wondering, okay, did I actually write this? But long story short, the book was finished in 2 months with my full-time job. And I was trapped. Then I was even handling Nigeria, Ghana, Kenya, and Cote d'Ivoire. So in between my travels and work, the book was finished. But when I finished, the whole editing and everything, in April, he now goes that the book needs to be launched with the event May 1st. By the time I sent, my husband took that part up, sent it to the printer. What are we going to need? They brought a bill, 990,000 naira. Meanwhile, remember, this is the last few weeks of the event. And the money that I had left would really have covered the event. But then this book was now the issue. And I'm like, God, I don't know where to get 1 million naira from right now. And the next thing, that day in the office, I just got an alert. And I saw 1 and I saw plenty zeros. So first of all, I looked at the name of the person that sent it. It's one of my aburos, like all these people that call me Auntie Iphie. And she had told me that God told her to give me money, but that she was trying to put it together. My mind, I'm like, it's not money, but I just ignored it. Like, seriously, it didn't even, there's how you're asking God for stuff, and maybe people that promised you have a list of them, like people that promised you substantial money, you can have the list and say, God, please pursue these people. But that day, I didn't even put this person's name there. So I saw the alert. First of all, I left the zeros because I was a little bit confused. So I moved up and I saw her name. Then I moved down. Then I started counting the zeros. And then it was 1 million naira. I just started crying. And this time, see, when I cry, I wail. I was wailing. Oh my God. I was wailing. I was crying. I showed my husband. I ran out immediately. I called Esther. I was crying. I'm sure that day she must have had it. I was just crying. I'm like, where did she get £1,000,000 to give me? How did God tell her to give my £1,000,000? How did she manage to put it together? Now that I need the 1 million, I was just blown away. So I cried finish. I went and did what I needed to do. And indeed, like, I just think about everything. Is it the speakers? Is it the event itself? It was absolutely beautiful. People were blessed. As in, at the end of the day, when we talk about hearing people and the testimonies, one thing that I keep saying is God has different ways of talking to people. So, and most times we want to, the whole idea of sharing testimonies is so we are encouraged to believe that God actually talks. He really talks, like he's right there by your side. You can have a conversation with him. That's one way he talks. He will talk to you because he wants to talk to you. God actually loves talking, like he loves conversations. He also would talk to you by sometimes just, flashing, showing you pictures, sometimes in your dreams. So there are different ways. It's left for you to understand the way that he talks to you and start to strengthen those places. I was telling somebody, I said, when you hear from God, you need to write it down. Oh, now I didn't even finish my testimony. Remember I told you that there was a US speaker, and in December, I remember that day, I was so heavy. And he said, Ifeoma, don't worry, you will not know the way this woman will come. How she will come, you don't know. So just remove your mind and she will come. Like 3 days or 4 days to the event. So Reverend Laurie buzzes me. And so at this point, I had told myself that maybe I didn't hear correctly. I mean, Reverend Laurie, since she's half American, half Nigerian, she must be the US speaker. So she buzzes me and she says, oh, that she has a friend. Her friend just visited her from the US. Her friend is a pastor. And she's going to come with her friend to Lagos. And she wanted to find out from me if it's okay for me if the friend just talks for like 5 minutes to the women before we start the event. And like you say, what? If it's okay? Are you kidding me? She has a space on the agenda. Wow. She's having things like December. Wow. So that is how our US speaker came home. She paid her ticket. I don't know who paid ticket for her to Nigeria. Even the ticket from Benin to Lagos. Me, I don't know. We did Reverend Laurie's other hotel. Reverend Laurie did that one, brought her, hotel, everything sorted. She came that day and she did the opening charge. And I was, there's nothing like hearing from God. When you have a word from God, you have confidence. You're sure. And when you get a word, always write it down. Always write it down, because there's so many things that happen. There are so many distractions. When you write it down, it's easy for you to go back and say, the funny thing is, when that lady came, if I hadn't written, I knew that God had told me she was going to come. But when I was going through my notes, I now saw it was December. And I saw everything he said, and I'm like, God, you really blew my mind. But you know that what this thing does? It strengthens your faith for the next crazy assignment. Because there will always be crazy assignments. There will always be crazy assignments. He needs you to walk on water. He needs you to cross that river, Jordan. So if you don't have a word, you will sink. You will sink. It's very, very simple. I think that's really it, Sham. Don't mind me, I can talk for Africa.
As in, you understand, as in, I'm sitting in front of you, but I'm flying, like my spirit is flying. Do you understand? Because you see, do you see why I asked her to come, guys? Hello, like, did you hear? Like, hearing it as one full story is different from, I was hearing it as it was happening. Do you understand? So she called me and say, hey, somebody just, For who does this? You know, and I've seen God do this. Many times write a list and say, Father, if money gonna come from here, it's gonna come from 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Do you understand? I gotta be like, hello.
Yes.
If I have to raise up a stone to do this work, I'm going to do it. As in, she didn't even like. So what is God asking you to do? Do you understand? What is the excuse? Do you understand? Listen to him. He speaks and he'll provide. He will raise up wherever he needs to raise up. As in, even the craziness of every hall you're going to, do you understand? The amount is coming down to, what are the odds? If it comes down to 1.1, it's okay, God even left change in your hand. Do you understand? 1.180. And I remember these stories. And guys, nobody's asking you to quit your job and go into ministry. She was working full time. Like, who does this? But then, can you also see even the boldness, you know, that God gives? Like, for her to even write the letter that she wrote to Yemi Alade people, do you understand? It can only be God. Do you get? And then you not end it with best regards. Hello, you're like, that is God. That is God. And she came. I was there when she came. Do you know what I mean? And she came, and she was even.
The thing was that she came. Exactly, she came. And Esther, do you remember, like, all the young girls were crying? Like, I was wondering what she said. So there was something that she needed to say to the young girls there. They were all crying. And even the manager was saying, if she comes, she's not going to sing. Oh, guess what? She sang by herself.
I was there.
It was so amazing.
I was there, you know, and for her, and I also remember her saying that it was an honor for her to speak because she's never spoken in a Christian event before. So, like, you don't understand it. So we're looking at this testimony from one side, thinking that, okay, this is Iphie's testimony of obedience, right? But you know that as she obeyed, God unleashed other people's destinies. Because I cannot forget that statement that she made. For her, she was so honored that she was speaking at a Christian event. You don't even know what seed you get was sown in her life. Do you understand? I said, now I can add speaker to my list of whatever. Just as in, so many destinies. And then the one that struck me off was when is testimony of the international speaker. Have you seen? Because then we were even talking to an international speaker for Girl Talk, and when they gave me the list of the things that they're looking for, including for flight tickets from LA to Nigeria, as in their ticket alone was like $22,000. I'm like, okay, because the problem, we'll be back. Okay, let the Lord speak, you know. And then you don't know how the person gets to Nigeria, and they're now begging you that if you don't mind, please, we would like her to speak. Don't mind. That is God. That is God. And I want you to see, I'm an ordinary person. She's an ordinary person. God speaks. But there's something about hearing from God. When you hear from God, it empowers you to do great things. Great things. It gives you boldness. Because when you know that the God of all heaven is backing you up, there's nobody. Because at the end of the day, it's not you, not your reputation that is on the line. This is God. Do you understand? Because you know it's God has called you to do it. So it was God's reputation on the line. He has said, I want you to do this. So he's good. He has every motivation to make sure that it happens the way that he has said it should happen. The way that I said it should happen. And also, please remember, at the beginning of the testimony, she said that she was doing all kinds of stuff. And God was like, I didn't ask you to do that stuff. But when she was right in line with what God had asked her to do, look at how she's encouraging us. Is it 1 or 2 years later now? Do you understand? Over this process, God is waiting on you. There's so much greatness that he has placed in your hands. There's so much greatness that he has placed in your life. There are people that need to be encouraged by your testimony. One of the days when we're looking at people up there and saying, oh, do you get it? Because they're a pastor that God is speaking to them, it's because they're a bishop, an evangelist, whatever. You are the church. Yeah. You are the ones that God was talking about when he said, greater works than these shall you do. He wasn't talking about pastors, he was talking about you, greater works. Was it provision? So is it money that's stopping you from doing it? She didn't have money. Hi guys, did you hear how God provided?
I didn't.
I'm buzzing. I don't know if anybody has any question. I don't even know if you need any question at this point in time. You understand? Because hello, just go and keep replaying this testimony and just be like, God, I've received my ginger in the name of Jesus. Where are we going? Let's go. Let's go. And if you need, in fact, I love the fact that she spoke about the different ways that God speaks, you know, and I'm going to ask her that question. But if you need a practical application on how to hear from God, please just check the link in my bio. 500 Naira. It will help your life. Right. Now, please, I want you to please talk briefly. Let me see how many minutes we have. 1 second. Oh, we have like 5, 6 minutes, you know. But just tell us like, because one thing that rang through was your relationship with God, even down to cracking jokes and asking him questions and so on. It just made God so relatable. How did you know that God spoke to you? Like, what are the ways that God speaks to you? How do you know that it is God?
Interesting. So how did I know it was God? You know, the Bible says, where Jesus says, "My sheep will know me; they will hear my voice, and they know me." I remember much younger in my spiritual journey, I usually used to pray this prayer of, God, I want to be sensitive. I want to know when it is your voice and when it is me talking to myself. So usually, how I know is it just drops sometimes. It just comes out of nowhere and it just drops. And then now, earlier those days, what I used to do was when he says something, I would ask him to give me 2 or 3 confirmations, because the Bible says that out of the mouth of 2 to 3 witnesses, a word is confirmed. So I would ask him to give me a confirmation in the Bible. So, for example, if he says, I don't know, whatever he tells me, I just ask him for a confirmation from the Bible. And then the way he used to speak with me, because remember, I was still young and growing, it's not like as if I knew the whole Bible, was sometimes he would just drop the verse and just tell me maybe 29:11. And then I start going through the Bible, Genesis 29:11, Exodus 29:11, Deuteronomy 29:11. But when I get to the verse, I know it. There's something in my spirit. So literally, the voice of God is there. How do you know it? You need to quieten your own spirit. You need to work on your spirit so that your spirit and your mind is quiet so that you can hear God's voice. How do you do this? You need to learn to pray in the spirit as well. Mm-hmm. When you pray in the spirit, other voices are quieting. And for me, it's been a journey. He didn't start from talking to me like this and telling me, you're going to have a US speaker, or don't worry. No, he didn't start like that. Yeah. He started first of all by giving me Bible verses. So God will speak to you through his word. It's your responsibility to go and understand his word, to read his word, so that when you get that word, it's easy for you to know, oh, I've seen this somewhere, or I have an idea where this is. My Bible, my Bible on my phone, and then Google, like my best friend. Sometimes I get a word from God and it just says something like, there was once was talking to me and he says, I've loved you with an everlasting love. And that was it. So I go and I Google, I've loved you, so that I really understand it. So that's how he started talking to me from his word. Then he started giving me numbers, which with time I learned he was trying to give me Bible verses before he actually started talking to me as a former. And then it was left for me to actually deepen that relationship. You need to quieten your spirit. You need to quieten your mind. You need to control it. Once you do that, sincerely, you would know. And sometimes I ask, God, is this you? Is this really you talking? And sometimes when I argue, he keeps quiet. Once he keeps quiet, I know it's God that's talking to me. Like, come on, the sooner you get your act together and listen to me, the better. So I know. So it's really like a relationship. You have your father. You stayed how many years with your father? There's stuff your father would say. There's someone that can pick up your father's phone and call you. You know your father's voice. Even if someone uses his phone, you won't get fooled. Even if your father is telling you something, there's a way your father will talk to you and you know the guy is under duress. So it's that same relationship that I would say that helps. And then praying a lot in the spirit. I do a lot of worship. You do a lot of worship. It helps you get into this realm, and then you hear better.
Please, as an aside, even just for my own sake, please, you had a post one time on your worship playlist. Please, can you repost it for those of us that, because I'm in need of new worship songs. One post that you did, I think maybe like earlier in the year or last year, about worship songs that take you into the presence of God.
Okay. Oh my God, yeah, amazing.
Thanks for this. Thank you so much. I'm sure you guys were blessed. Me, I was blessed, and I've received fresh ginger. Like, hello, like I'm ready. I'm ready to do everything that God has called me to do. I hope this has blessed you. I think we're back next week. I'm not sure how many more weeks we got, but yeah. So you're being encouraged to seek a deeper relationship with God. Don't forget, we have the worship gathering next week, Saturday, also known as the 7th of July. Yeah. details are on my page. Uncommon Woman, please check out Iphie's page because that book is a lit one. Yeah, it's a nice one. Yeah. You need to check it out. And she's gonna post her worship playlist for us, so that's gonna be nice.
Yes, I'm glad.
Yes, please. Yes. Okay, all right. Till next week. See you guys. God bless you.
Take care. Thank you so
Bye.
much, Esther.
Thank you too.
Bye.
Thank you for sharing your amazing testimonies of God. Thank you.
Anytime.
All right. Yes. Bye bye now. Bye. God bless you guys. Bye.